Looking at this data, I've just discovered something really surprising. What is it? Right now, auction items in the Gangnam area are pouring in like rain. The speed is much faster than during the financial crisis. And what about the volume? What I'm saying is that there are actually more items now than the aftermath of the financial crisis. Don't talk all the time. You can't be talking about the time when tigers used to smoke. Hello, nice to meet you. I'm Kim Gi-hyun from Richgo. Today I want to talk a bit about auctions. As you all know, we have auction sales statistics available on Richgo, and I think it would be great if you could check them out if you're interested. Now, looking at this data, I've discovered something really surprising. Many people say that the Gangnam area will never collapse. Gangnam, Seocho, and Songpa. But a signal has appeared. What I mean is that right now, there are more commercial real estate auctions happening in the Gangnam area than ever before. Auction items are pouring in like rain in Gangnam. And if you're thinking about buying a building in Gangnam right now, this is absolutely not the time to be looking for properties, everyone. A really good opportunity to buy a building will come, so you must wait. You absolutely have to wait. For now, I'll go through the data one by one and share my thoughts. It doesn't collapse, okay? But the signal has come on. Well, in Gangnam District 3, there are commercial real estate, buildings, and shops. These are the most auctions since these statistics were taken. Right now, auction items are pouring down like rain in Gangnam District 3. If you're buying a building in Gangnam, it's not the time. A good opportunity will come, so wait. I'll review the data. On Richgo, click Sales Statistics to see auction data. Change it to 20 years to access the oldest statistics. In October, there were 17,175 cases. The speed is faster now, and there are more items than after the crisis. If you go to Richgo, there's an auction section, and if you click on the sales statistics, you can view the auction data. If you change it to 20 years, you can access the oldest statistics from 20 years ago. Looking at this, I didn't even select a region or item, but as you can see, in October, there were 17,175 cases, almost 18,000. This level of numbers is the highest since December 2005 and January 2006. Even during the financial crisis, as you can see, the number of auction items increased significantly, but the speed is much faster than during the financial crisis. And what I'm saying is that there are actually more items now than the aftermath of the financial crisis. It's really a lot right now. It's at an all-time high. As you can see, even during the financial crisis, the number of auction items increased significantly, but the speed is much faster now, and the volume is actually greater than the aftermath of the financial crisis. There's really a lot right now. So I'll take a look at each item one by one. First, I'm not going to select a region right now. I'll talk about the Gangnam area separately a bit later. For now, let's take a look at the apartments. Click on apartments here, search for the Richgo app in the App Store, download it. The number of apartments is increasing with over 4,000 nationwide. The apartment market still isn't very large. Click on Officetel. Few Officetel auctions occurred. Search for Richgo on your computer to visit our site. The number of apartments is increasing with just over 4,000 nationwide compared to post-financial crisis growth. It's not much. So the apartment market isn't very large. Now, let's click on Officetels. Recently, there are over 1,500 Officetel auctions, like a flood of properties. Let's look at single-family homes, which are also increasing. With 810 cases, single-family homes are on the rise. Next, check out multifamily homes. Recently, how's it going? The number of Officetel auctions has completely skyrocketed. It's over 1,500 now. There are just tons of Officetel properties pouring in. Now let's take a look at single-family homes. The number of single-family homes is also continuing to increase. There are currently 810 cases. So, single-family homes are on the rise as well. Next, let's check out multifamily homes. Multifamily homes, it's still increasing, right? As you can see, the number of multifamily homes is also continuously increasing, and there are actually a lot more auction items coming out now than during the financial crisis. I believe there are two main reasons for this. The first reason is low interest rates. During the COVID period, the loans that were taken out until early 2021 are becoming burdensome with rising interest rates, making it impossible to hold on any longer, which is why auction items are flooding in. And what's the other reason? As prices keep rising, our wallets and the situation for businesses are getting worse. So, small business owners, small and medium-sized enterprises, and even large corporations are in a really tough situation and are closing down. So what does this mean? Right now, they can't hold on any longer, and that's why they're continuously flooding the auction market with these properties. And what's the important issue? This isn't where it... And just take a look at what's happening right now. It's usually not that serious. In the future, there will be a lot more auctions coming in. In particular, I think there was a significant shockwave in the second half of 25 years. It's going to hit the South Korean real estate market, and because of this, There will be a massive influx of auction properties in 2026 and 2027. If there are individuals or companies that really seize this opportunity well, they could create a huge gap in assets, just like during the financial crisis or the IMF period. Those who prepared properly and kept cash on hand back then became incredibly wealthy. They grew into massive corporations. So keep these things in mind, and it would be good to look at the future picture. They grew to huge corporations. Make sure to keep these things in mind, and it would be good to look at the future picture. This time, let's take a look at the multi-unit buildings. The number of multi-unit buildings has increased a bit, but it's not a lot. About 3635 cases. So, while the number of auctions is higher than after the financial crisis, the increase isn't massive. So looking at this, while the number of apartments and multi-unit buildings is high, the increase isn't that significant. However, for office tells, single-family homes and multi-family homes, especially office tells, we can see that the number of auctions is really increasing. This is data on residential real estate. Now let's take a look at commercial real estate. After the financial crisis hit, it started pouring in like rain about 2 years later. It increases dramatically, and then it continues to decrease from 2015. We can see that there are a lot more auctions happening. This is data on residential real estate. Now let's take a look at commercial real estate. After the financial crisis hit, it started pouring in like rain about 2 years later. It increases dramatically. And it keeps decreasing. And it really drops off starting from 2015. And what happens from this point on? Commercial real estate is really starting to see a significant increase. But how is it now? This interest rate hike hasn't even happened yet. Look at it now. It continues to increase and currently stands at 2,302 cases as of October 24th. So we can see that the number of auction properties in the commercial real estate market, especially in the building sector, is really increasing a lot. Now let's take a look at the land market. How's the land market doing? The number of auctions is also continuously increasing. Right now there are over 5,300 cases for land. So in the land sector as well, the number of auctions is on the rise. This means we can buy at auction prices that are lower than the market prices, and as the number of auction properties keeps increasing, this kind of opportunity comes around only once every 10 years or so. So, number of auction properties keeps increasing. And this kind of time is an opportunity. It comes around only once every 10 years or so. It's an opportunity that comes around only once every 10 years. Auction properties are cheaper, and you're buying on the market. As auction properties are appraised, check how much to bid. This is sucker's move. It's crucial to know your bidding limits. As auction properties are appraised, there are many experts in the auction field. However, they often mention that while they can secure properties at low prices, keep these aspects in mind during auctions. We haven't seen a major shock yet, but by 2025, with the third round of DS, debt service, stress, and economic downturn, challenges may arise. Many great properties are up for auction now, but avoid excessive loans. Just a little longer, about a year to a year and a half, and you'll find lower prices. I've seen buildings with basements up to 5 floors. Consider this in auctions. We haven't seen a major shock yet, but in 2025, with the debt service stress and economic downturn, challenges may arise. After this, the real bottom will hit. Many great properties are up for auction now, but avoid excessive loans. If you can manage risk, that's fine, but if not, wait. Just wait a year to a year and a half, then buy at lower prices. I really believe that the bottom is going to drop out. That's why there are so many great properties coming up for auction right now, but please don't take on excessive loans. If you can manage the risk of further declines, then that's one thing, but if not, it's really best to wait. You only have to wait a little longer, about a year to a year and a half. After that, you'll be able to buy at much lower prices. There are going to be a lot of good auction items coming up, so I think it would be better to wait a bit longer. Next year, we're moving to the Sinonhyeon Station area, where we'll have a lecture hall, and we'll prepare a lot of great auction lectures and classes there. I hope many of you come and attend the good lectures and study hard to win great auction items. Now, many people are saying that the Gangnam area won't collapse, and it's okay. But if you look at the commercial real estate market right now, it's clear from the data that the Gangnam area is currently collapsing. And commercial real estate hasn't reached its peak since the financial crisis, but the Gangnam area, it's now past all-time highs. Let me show you this with data. First, I'll click on Seoul, and then I'll select just the 3 districts of Gangnam. Gangnam-gu, Seocho-gu, and Songpa-gu. So, I'm only selecting Gangnam, Seocho, and Songpa. Do you see it? So, without selecting any specific items, here are the auction numbers for the Gangnam area. In October 2024, the number of auctions suddenly skyrocketed to 276. How many were there the month before? There were 133 cases. last month. How many times has that increased compared to September? It's increased by over 100%, more than doubled. It's a huge increase. The previous high was in August 2024 with 191 cases. Just look at this increase. Incredible, right? And when is this? October 2013. The impact of interest rates is at a level comparable to that time. Everyone now. This is huge. Now, let's move on to the auction items. First, let's take a look at the auction numbers for apartments in the Gangnam area, which are said to never collapse. Look, it's increased to 80 cases. Now, of course, it hasn't increased as much as after the financial crisis. The reason I'm saying this is because during COVID, they didn't provide loans for apartments over 15 million. So in the Gangnam area, where there are many apartments over 15 million, there hasn't been anyone forced to sell, which is why they aren't coming to auction. So what's coming to auction now? It's coming out because the business is failing or something else is struggling. It's definitely not because of the burden of interest. What's that mean? The fact that the number of auctions has increased this much, even though there are no people in Gangnam who are financially stretched, means that the situation for those running businesses in Gangnam is quite serious right now. And now, let's take a look at the office tales in Gangnam. This means that things are getting worse. Everyone, now let's take a look at the office tales in Gangnam. There are a lot of office tales, Gangnam, but the number of cases isn't that high. Now let's take a look. The single family homes, there are few. There aren't any multifamily homes, right? There are any, not close. So the number of elevator apartments is gradually increasing. It's gradually increasing. So for residential properties, the highest number of auction cases is for apartments, followed by 12-unit buildings. It's only about 100 units. If you look back at the financial crisis, the number of apartments in the upper Gangnam area was under 180 or 200 cases. However, in 2026 and 2027, over 200 apartments will come to auction in Gangnam. To enter the 3 districts of Gangnam, win the bids at a low price during that time. We will also prepare auction consulting and other services, so contact us later. More than 200 apartments will be put up for auction, so it would be great if those who want to enter Gangnam's 3 districts can win the auction at a low price then. We will prepare auction consulting and other services later, so please contact us later. This time, since there's no land in Gangnam, let's leave out the land and focus on today's topic, commercial real estate in Gangnam. Thoughts? Right now, we're almost at 100 cases with 97 cases as of October. But back in October 2013, when the situation was the most serious, there were only 51 cases. So compared to that, how many times is it now? It's double. It's double. So what does this mean? During the COVID period, there were a lot of people buying buildings in the 3 districts of Gangnam. Let me show you. Data by going into Richgo Expert. This is the monthly transaction volume of commercial real estate in the 3 districts of Gangnam. If you look at it, in June 2021, there were around 670 cases of commercial real estate, which is huge, especially from June 2020 to around April 2022. There was a significant amount of commercial real estate transactions. You can see transactions were happening. So there weren't any auctions at that time. So what does this transaction volume mean? The transaction volume signaling the rise of commercial real estate. What is this? It means the transaction volume that indicates market peak. But right now, there really isn't much transaction volume. But why can't those who bought back then hold on now? Back then, the loan interest rates really high, right? But now the loan interest rates are still high, aren't they? And what about this? But right now, the loan interest rates still high, right? And what is this? Was there something special mortgage program? No, there isn't. Back then, loans were easily available for buildings. Now, in Gangnam, a prime location, commercial real estate auctions are at an all-time high. We're far from the end. I'm interested in buildings and have checked many properties in Gangnam, but the returns are ridiculous. What are the current bank interest rates? Returns should be higher than bank rates, right? The demand for properties in prime locations is really high. And right now, commercial real estate auctions in the Gangnam area are skyrocketing to an all-time high. We're still far from the end. I've been really interested in buildings, so I've been checking out a lot of properties in the Gangnam area, but the returns are just ridiculous. I mean, what are the bank interest rates right now? What percentage are they at? Shouldn't the returns be higher than the bank interest rates? So just because it's in the upper part of Gangnam, think it'll just go up if you hold on to it. When are you talking about right now? South Korea's population is shrinking. Small business owners are struggling. In this aging era, be cautious with commercial real estate. You can't be talking about the times when tigers smoke cigarettes anymore. In this aging era, you really need to be careful. Commercial real estate. This ended for property owners in 2021. Now it's not about being a property owner anymore. This is really a 3D job. It's really not easy. Being a property owner is not an easy job. But it really needs to make money, and it's just so hard to actually make money from it. So that's why it's pouring in like this. Isn't an apartment in Gangnam any different? In 2021 and 2022, they didn't give out loans, so there aren't any yet. But in 2023 and 2024, they kept giving out loans. So what do you think will happen? It has no choice but to go to auction. I expect late 2026, auctions could take 6 months to a year. From late 2026, auctions will likely rise, especially through 2027 and 2028. This highlights the significance of the current high number of commercial property auctions in Gangnam's 3 districts. It'll take anywhere from 6 months to about a year, right? So starting from the fall of the second half of 2026, the number of auctions will start to increase, and especially through 2027 and 2028, it's very likely to keep rising. That's why I think it's very significant that we're seeing the largest number of commercial property auctions in the 3 districts of Gangnam right now. And what does that mean? If you jump in too quickly, just because an auction has come up, you could really get into big trouble. I think the fact that auctions are coming up right now is very significant. Ada. And what about now? If you jump in too quickly, just because an auction has come up, you could really get into big trouble. You get into trouble, everyone. The situation right now is seriously not normal. At least next year. Right now, with Trump becoming president, we need to at least understand what kind of negative impact this is having on the South Korean economy. We're talking about buildings here, not small amounts of money. Right now, in New York, there are buildings worth 400 to 500 billion won that are being auctioned off for just a few billion, and these kinds of things are happening. So no matter how much you want to invest in Gangnam's 3 districts, I really hope you just study auctions for now and absolutely avoid bidding or anything like that. It's really risky, so please keep that in mind. If you like today's content, it would be great if you could subscribe, hit the like button, turn on notifications, and leave a nice comment. Thank you.